Hey everyone, we're in for a treat today because I have an Xbox Ally X D-pad mod, a button mod, and some Hall effect sticks. So let's check this out. All right, I'm gonna quickly take you through what I have that we're gonna do today. So Gulikit sent me these TMR Hall effect joysticks for the Xbox Ally X. They're not the same ones that go into the regular Ally X or the regular Ally. Those are all different modules, so you can't interchange them. These are specific to the ROG Xbox Ally X. Now the other buttons that I have are, an actual Xbox layout buttons. So I picked these up from Etsy. These ones I bought with my own money. The other piece I have is, a D-pad mod, and this is for the Elite ends. So this is also from Etsy from the same store as here. Again, I'll link that in the description. I did buy those with my own money. And then EXtremeRate kindly sent me these over to do this mod with. So thank you EXtremeRate and thank you Gulikit for supplying these for me today. And even if they hadn't sent them to me, I would have picked them up anyway because I like modding my devices. And if you're familiar with the channel, you already know that. So first we're going to jump into taking this off. If you're wondering what this is this is a Dbrand skin. It goes with, the kill switch case. So I'll stick that all back in to this after, and the cover for that. I'll leave a link to that in the description too in case you want to pick one up. But let's open this up first. So I have these pads. These are like little styrofoam pads. I use them for all my devices. It's so that when you stick it down, it doesn't interfere with the joysticks, so you can lay it flat without putting the pressure on the sticks. Now this one, we need to start off with the 3 screws at the very bottom. And you're gonna wanna make sure that you position these correctly on this board because we're gonna go through a lot of screws today. We basically need to take apart everything to get to those buttons. And I have not taken this apart yet. I haven't looked at anyone else's teardowns. The most I've done is swapped out the NVMe drive. So we'll see how far I can get without having to look or cheat or just, get through the process. So bear with me, and we're gonna learn this one together. If you have anti-static mat like this is gonna be the best way that you can go about doing this operation, and that's just so that, you don't zap your device. You also have a little spot here for all your screws so they don't get mixed up. Let's see if I can tap some of these out. Some of these don't want to come all the way. Okay. Nope. It's okay if you can't get it fully. We just need to be careful when we pry so that it doesn't catch anything. Now, how I like going about this is using a spudger. And I have a couple new ones here that aren't already chunked. And I mean, you see how that's a little bit chunked? These are some new ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and start prying right from the top here, just to get a good lift, and maybe that screw will come out now. Oh, okay, that doesn't want to come out yet. That's fine. But we have both ends here. I can start to, grab all the way down, work with your fingers. You can work with the spudger to help pry it. You just want to make sure that you're not putting extra stress on here, and then try not to hit the power button while you have this back plate off. Okay. Put this back over here. I should be able to just lift off. There we go. Okay. Now when you get this open, you got to be careful because there is that ribbon. So the easiest way to get this one out of the way, I find, is just to go from the top here. And there's just a little piece of tape. So we can position that in a way you can see it. There's just a little piece of tape. So I'm just going to grab my tweezers, and these are, special tweezers that are anti-static. Lift that little flap here, and then pull this out. And so we can, put that back down. We'll put that flap back down so it doesn't get bent. You don't want to pull that or rip anything. The ribbon cables are very fragile, so you got to be real careful with that. Okay, so you can see I already have a heatsink in here for 4 terabyte with the battery cable. Now this battery cable, we're gonna wanna unplug it for what we're doing here. We're doing like a full operation. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this tab. And so you can see that, that's how you detach the battery. There's just this little pull tab, you just gotta pull it right up. And that's how we're gonna get that out. Now getting to the actual joystick modules, if that's the only mod that you wanna do, I mean, you just have to flap these, undo that and then swap them back in. I made it sound really easy, but this one goes here, this one goes here, and then you just swap out the 2 modules. But we need to get deeper because I need to be able to get to those buttons. So that means a lot of this has to come off, including the battery. Now first I'm gonna take off the NVMe drive because that's gonna give me a little bit more room to see what we're working with. And you can see I have a full thick heatsink on here. This is no joke, and there's lots of room for a full heatsink. So if you've got like a PS5 drive, it will fit. Those will definitely fit. It's quite a beast in here for space. Like, look how much room that is. It's tons. Okay. Next, I'm going to take off the battery. That's going to give me a good look of what's underneath here, and you can see that it's tied into the fans. So I'll pull these 2 screws off. Okay, and they're the same size, but I'm going to stick them on over here so that I have some sort of indicator for that. Bottom. That's a black screw, little tiny one. Okay, we've got a middle one. And one more on the side. And I should be able to lift the battery after this. Okay. There is a little edge that they're in, so just gotta lift that. Got a little spudger, there we go. All right, the battery is out. So here's what the battery looks like if you want to get a good view of that. It's pretty heavy, actually. Okay, now we need to get into the buttons. So the buttons, the face buttons are going to be this plate right here, and the D-pad's going to be under this big guy. So I'm going to have to take the whole board off right from here. If you need to clean the fans, this is a good time to do this. Like, hold it down and then just push some air through it. You don't want to make the fan spin. That's not a good thing. So don't do that. But let's get a little deeper here. There's my screwdriver. Just went for an adventure under there. I'm going to go ahead and take off these joysticks first. Give us a little bit more room. So undo this. Okay, and I'm going to stick this at the top here. I'm going to catch for these modules. Okay. That way, if the only thing you want to do is change out the joystick modules, you can kind of follow just right to here. So there is this little plastic that we need to overcome when we're lifting up. You need to catch a little spudger under there. There we go. So that's super easy to swap out the joystick. So if you were going to go and stop here, you would just swap out to this one, take the cap on, put it on, stick it on there. So super simple for that specific one. You'll notice here too, I have a rubber ring around the edge of my joystick. That's to just keep it from grinding on the edge, because I have had that happen before with the original Ally, And so I had the Xbox, or not the Xbox, I had the Ally X. And with that one, same thing. I put those same rubber rings on there because I didn't want to grind the sticks. So I'll stick that here. If you're getting like squeaky triggers or anything, that's also a good time now if you need to lube these up. And how you would go about that is just like using some keyboard lube, and you just use a little brush with the lube and then kind of go along that whole stick here by these little springs, and that's going to help, you know, get your triggers a little bit looser. Not looser, but move a little bit better. Just going to see. No, there's no other screws under here. So there's just this last little one right here. So still 3 screws on each. Okay, and this is a long screw too. So I'll tuck that off on the side. Now there is this little cord here. I'll come back to that. I'll give myself a little bit more space to work with first. So same thing here, there's this little notch that's in there. You just need to like kind of go underneath and give it a little bit of a lift. There we go. And same thing here. There we go. Again, if you need to take this off, just, you know, same thing. Take off the cap, grab the module in here, stick it in, and then you're good from that front. And you obviously don't have to take off the battery for the joystick modules either. Let's see if I can get this without pulling this out. The least amount of things you need to pull out, the better, if you can make it work. So let's just keep going. Now, if I just work on these buttons on this side, I can get that going. Lift this tape up. And I'm going to just set these on the side. I'll also need to take off the triggers. Just to get to the face buttons. Okay, so leave that on the side. And then lift this little flap, take that out. And there are the buttons in the D-pad. If you need to clean this up, you can just get a little bit of isopropyl alcohol like this and a Q-tip and just wipe it up. I'm gonna leave the buttons in there for now because I need to keep working on this board so I can lift it up for that D-pad. Okay. Might not need to take off this trigger, so I won't go for that just yet. But on the fan here, this is going to need to come up. This is like a tension that's on here because the thermal paste is under here. Okay. Let's see, can I get this lifted? No. Okay, I see the fan is connected there. There's a tape here, and that'll get me over. So it is still connected to the board. Not a big deal. I can just kind of leave that there. Just want to make sure that there's no screws underneath. So wait or watch through the whole thing before you go take this apart fully, just to understand if you need to go, you know, a little bit further. I am gonna have to take off this trigger on this side just to help get that fan up and make sure there's no screws underneath. Okay, just the one screw. Okay. If you need to get to the bumpers too, here's how you get to the bumpers. Okay, I pull up the fan and there are no screws underneath, so that's a good sign. Lift this off though. And if you need to replace your thermal paste, now is a good time too. So I can see that it's a little, it doesn't look great. I'm gonna clean this up and replace it with some good stuff. Like this just looks a little dried up on there, like maybe not enough of it's put on the actual chip. So I am gonna swap that out with some good stuff. But we'll do that at the end. Okay. Do I need to take this off? I probably don't. Let's lift this ribbon cable up, because that's probably gonna need to be lifted. Then we've got the screw right here. Just gonna stick that at the bottom. Is there another screw? Yes, there's one right here. Just in case, I'm gonna lift that one off. And let's see if I can pry this up without having to go much further. Too. Take that off to the side. Can I get this lifted? Okay, no, I'm gonna have to take off this If your Wi-Fi or Bluetooth are acting weird, you can always check these too. Just unplug them. There's a little connector too for each of them on here, on the board, to just keep them more stuck. Let's take a peek under here. There we go. And I'm gonna just lift this up gently and pull this out, so that it's less tight here. So now I should be able to lift this up enough to get to that D-pad, and I can see it under there. Okay, so here's how I pulled it out. So that means I'm going to just line this up the same way, okay, and then stick that back in there. Now I can put those two screws back in and then flip it around and feel if the D-pad is in a good spot. Got the board positioned correctly. I did not have to pull out any more ribbons than what I did. Let's just gently flip this around. Okay, so it's in a good spot. Now I can go ahead and start to piece some of this back together. But let's catch this ribbon back in first, and then I can work on the buttons. Get that out of the way. Be very careful with this connector. You need to make sure the flap is up and then just gently put it back into there. And then use both your fingers to kind of push this over. You don't want to bend it. And there's this little outline here. You can use that as a reference for sticking this back on. Okay, let's put the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi back in. If you're having Wi-Fi or Bluetooth issues after the fact, then you might not have clipped these in correctly. So just be aware of that. And the black goes on the B, and you should feel a little click. It's a little trickier when you're leaving some of these fans and stuff on the board too. You gotta work around them. These can be a pain, so be very careful with it. Don't put too much pressure because you can stretch the metal and then it won't clip on correctly. Like on the very back here, there's like a little hole and then circle, and so you need to catch it right on the edge. There we go. Now I can clip this back into here. Okay. So those two are good. Let's swap these buttons out. So that's an X. Let's find an X. Okay. There's a Y. B. That's this one. Now you can see that there's like a rougher texture on this with these like aftermarket buttons that are just, you know, resin printed on a machine. So I'm actually going to put a little bit of keyboard lube just around the edges of the buttons just to make sure that, you know, there's not a lot of friction once I place them in the right spots, just to make sure that they'll fit. Okay. That, and the last one is the A. Take a quick peek. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, pulling out the keyboard switch lube. Let's just gonna tackle everything here that we need to while I have this out. So on to, and you don't need to do this. I'm just gonna do it just so that I don't have to worry about any friction with the ends here. Okay. I'm trying not to get it on my actual fingers. When I did this on my Xbox, no, not my Xbox, jeez, on my Ally X with the buttons, it was snagging just ever so slightly on one of the buttons. I had to go back in and replace it. Actually, they sent me, the Etsy store sent me a whole new button. I think it was the X button that was messing me up. And I'm happy that I did put some sort of, you know, keyboard lube into it that time. But again, you don't have to do that. I'm just taking extra precautions because I don't want to have to open this up again if there is any sort of friction, because these aren't like OEM buttons. They do have a little rougher edges. Still soft, but like they're just not like a flush, beautiful, perfect button edge. Try not to drop this. Here we go. Go. One more. need to put a lot if you are putting any on. Just like a light coat. There we go. Okay. Now I have the triggers off. I'm gonna go ahead and coat them a little bit too, just on the back here. Might as well take the opportunity to do that if you have these undone. And you have some keyboard lube handy. So that's it for these. Now let me take care of this thermal paste. I'll also stick this back on too, just so that the buttons stay where they need to stay. There's my screwdriver, there we go. Grab these and screw this on. You can do a quick button test before I get too far. Make sure everything pushes correct, it doesn't snag. The last thing you want to do is have to take this all apart again, but it looks like that B button is snagging ever so slightly. So I'm actually going to pull mine back out. I don't love that. Okay, B button, let's take a look at you. No, I don't see any defects that stick out in particular, but I am just going to put a little bit more lube around there. It could be that I didn't have that last screw in too, but we'll find out. Nothing but time here. Okay, put that tape back in. Actually put this ribbon cable back in too at the same time because we don't need to have that loose anymore. Okay, fans can go back. There's a little edge I need to snag on that side. Just make sure everything is good for these. Let's clean this off. I'm going to replace the thermal paste, and you don't have to, but I will because we're already in here. And I have the good stuff. I mean, might as well do it. It does look a little dry. So alcohol is coming into play. And all I'm doing is just dipping into the alcohol with a Q-tip clean this off over garbage. Okay, so this one's cleaned up. Now it's just a matter of cleaning this one up. All right, now that that's cleaned up, you can go ahead and put this on. Start in the middle. Everybody has a different way of like applying thermal paste. I'm gonna start in the middle. There's a little spatula here. Just work my way. Spread this out. Try not to make too much of a mess. I'll clean up anything that I miss over here. And again, everybody has another technique. You can tell me how mine is wrong in the comments, feel free to, but it still works. So, to each their own. It's all gonna spread out there pretty evenly. I can put this back on. Just lift these bands back over. So right at the bottom is where you're going to want to seat these first. Here I can catch that over here. And then place the fan over top, locking it back into place. I can screw these back in and just distribute the tension. Don't just take one and go. Start to space out how you're tightening them because it is a tension piece. Okay, this one's good, this one's good. This one's good, and this one's good. All right, so those are back locked in, and I can screw this fan screw back in. Okay, now before I go any further, I'm just gonna hold on to the triggers a little bit as I flip this around. Let them drop down at the bottom here, and I just wanna check everything. So the D-pad feels good. That button feels good, that button feels good. The B1 might be all right. I'll find out from use to see if it snags at all, but it seems to be all right now that I've screwed that in and given it a little extra keyboard lube. Okay. Now I can put the triggers back on. So that is back into place. Both long screws. And now on this side, I'm actually going to position this. I mean, I might as well put this back in. Okay, so that one's good. No, I'm going to put the trigger first, just because, not the trigger, but I'm going to put the joystick first, just because we have this out and the cable's out of the way, so I might as well do that first. And that's going to be this one right here. So I'm going to take the tape off of here and put it back on. Okay, and then I can grab this joystick and stick it back on here. And make sure that little flap is up. Push this in, close. Actually, I gotta lift this back up. This needs to go under first. There we go. Now I can stick this back in. Okay, and this can go back over here. Okay, and then this long one goes over here. And the short one goes on here. Stick that back over there. Don't want to mix up my screws. Okay, so this side is good. It's in there. I can feel the nice tension from these sticks, so I like that a lot. Nice to have tight sticks. Let's grab this. And no tape on that one to move over, but I can just put it back in. And again, there's these little plastic spots right here and right here, so you just need to catch those on the way down. Okay, and lock that ribbon cable back in. If you're, again, just switching these out, don't take the battery out. You don't have to do it for that. We only went that far so that I could, you know, get right in there. And I do have the ring cable under here, so I need to catch that. So that's something that I did not pull back after lifting the board. So ideally try to grab that first before you sit the board back down after putting the D-pad in. But you can still pull it out, so it's not like a big deal. But if I hadn't pulled this back out, we would have no ring lights, because these are the ring lights. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one back in. All right, we've got our triggers. Those feel good. Bumpers feel good. It's good to just do some checks. Make sure you're good before you get too far. Now I can put the battery back in. Oh, there's a screw that slipped in there, so there's that. And that's why you check. Don't force anything. Okay, let's try that again. Two long ones. And then three little small ones at the back. That's all good. Let me stick the NVMe drive back in before I put the battery back. now I can stick the battery back in. So again, we've got this little pull tab. It's just going to press right down. And you should hear it snap, just like it just did. So that's going to be good there. I can grab the back plate. And this is where we want to connect that wire. And lift this little flap up. The blue side should be visible at the top. Go ahead and stick that in and cover the flap and put the tape back down. All right, so now we're in a good spot to close this back up. So I'm going to start at the bottom. And then work my way back up here. So everything is good and closed up. Now I can start putting the screws back in. So there's one that didn't leave there, another one that didn't leave here. Okay. And I've got the one that stashed its way under my speaker, or on the back of my speaker. All right, so here's the front. Now let's take a look at the eXtremeRate D-pads. So I have black ones from eXtremeRate. If you want to see what that looks like, here's a regular D-pad. We have the full circle D-pad. I have silver ones. Okay, and then I have this special color. That's kind of cool. I had this on my Ally X. See, I got it right one time without saying the Xbox in front. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Which one should I be rocking on here? I mean, I'm gonna maybe put the black one for now, but I'm curious to see, you know, in the comments which one you think looks the coolest out of all of these. There are some neat ones here for sure that you can accessorize with, and depending on the color of skin you have, I mean, if you've got no skin on there and it's just black, well, that's a lot easier to try to put whatever color you want. But we've got the actual Xbox looking buttons, and that's, you know, what makes this more of an Xbox than an actual Xbox. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on. We'll calibrate the sticks here, make sure that they're good with the Hall effect. Keep in mind when you unplug everything like that, like the battery in full, you can't turn it on afterwards. You need to plug it into the power supply and then power it on, and that's going to be how you're going to get it back running. When we go into calibration here, I'm going to go ahead and go into the left stick. You can see that it's not right, and so we need to calibrate it. So I can go ahead and release the joystick, then press A. Okay, and then I'm going to just hold it. Go down and hold it, to the left and hold it, up and hold it, done. Now I can check and everything looks good. So I'm going to go back and go to the right stick now and calibrate. Okay. and should always just go back, and you should be able to circle through. You can recalibrate if you need to, but that's going to mean everything is perfectly calibrated. I know all the buttons are working. I can, you know, feel it as I go through here. They're all functioning. You know, I still have my triggers are fully working. RT and LT are fully working. So just make sure that everything is working for your buttons. And once you're done that, then you're good to go. So what do you think about this mod? Is this something you're going to take on too? You know, what color should I use? What do you think? Which one looked the best? I do kind of like using these, but you know, for a showpiece, it definitely gets it across that it's more Xbox than Ally when you have these buttons and this specific D-pad that matches the Elite 2 controller. It's not the easiest mod to do. I mean, we definitely went deep down to swap out these buttons. If you're just doing the joysticks, that's pretty easy. I mean, you can do that without getting too deep, without having to pull the battery out, and just get in there, calibrate it. I'll make sure I flag the calibration chapter in here to make it a little bit easier. But thank you, Gulikit, for sending me over these. They feel really great. It's got a nice kickback on there. Now we have actual Hall effect sticks on this device. And then of course eXtremeRate for sending me, you know, all these different ends. So if you want to pick some of those up, again, I'll leave links to these in the description. Hopefully this is helpful for you. If it was, let me know down in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Take care till the next one.